Their aura is unequal.
Well, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Or whatever. And they told me to make it a little more raspy, and I follow directions.
Their contents are legendary.
In fact, that little sheet you see is his concept drawing.
Their attitude is embraced. Tune in to one of the most up and rising kaiju-sized groups within our community. So go ahead and watch all of their creative content, including that of the Raw Attitude live interview, where they have special guests ranging from actors, directors, toy creators, artists, and many, many more. You can also find them on multiple of other social media platforms, ranging from Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You could even sit back and watch your favorite classic monster movie and even watch us go through one of the most iconic games on Twitch. Featuring your hosts, Eric Stowe, Adrian Settle, Joe Myers, Samson West, Jordan Adorno. They are the Monsters with Attitude.
I love how my intro was a very peak monster that had no love this year. But if there is somebody that I believe had much more love, it is whom we are commemorating today for their 30th anniversary. But before I get on to that, what is going on, dwellers on Monster Island, embracing nothing but attitude? Here is your host for today's show, Jordan the Don Adorno. And if you did not know, I'm here with two of my brothers from another mother, and that of the bearded kaiju, Eric Stope, and Godzilla Train 1090 in Adrian Settle. We are here.
You ain't whipping up no gang signs around here, man. This is a civil family show. What we doing here?
Literally. And we are here to, I know I'm going to be showing nothing but love for this film. I don't know about you guys, but we are here to honor and commemorate 30 years of Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla. So, obviously, before we get into this, how is everybody doing today? Eric, how are you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing good. Excited for Christmas to come up. Had to work a little bit today, but now I'm on vacation now for 8 days. So I'm excited. And, my first day of vacation, I get to talk about a very controversial movie, I think, in the Godzilla verse and everything like that. So it's going to be fun. And, of course, talking to my friends and you guys, of course, and everybody who tunes in live and later. It's a lot of fun. So can't wait.
Right on, man. Listen, I can't wait for Christmas to be over with at this point. Holy crap.
My wallet does not like me right now.
Oh, my God. Adrian, how are you doing, brother?
Doing all right. Also ready for Christmas to come. I don't get a vacation necessarily, but I do only have a 2-day work week next week. So I'm excited.
All right.
That's not bad.
So then, of course, we got to showcase all of the love we've been getting from our fans. Fanciest of Cats is here as always. Oh, man. Listen, this is going to be a roller coaster of a ride for this specific show. I'll tell you that.
I mean, all I gotta say about this comment is that you know that Yuki never skipped butt day because he was always doing those squats because that man was toned. That man was toned and ready to show that ass.
And of course, we got a very good friend of the show, Nathaniel Plummer. What is going on, brother? I hope all is well. I mean, wait, now that Nathaniel's here, wasn't yesterday or today the anniversary of King Kong Lives?
Yes. Yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was yesterday.
I saw that and I was like, oh shit, Nate is losing his mind right now. And of course, we have our beloved moderator and another brother here at MWA and Oscar. What is going on, man? Oh man, let me see. We have a bunch of other individuals ranging from Facebook, Twitch, of course, YouTube as well. So yeah, let's just dive right into this, boys, shall we?
Hell yeah, let's go.
All right, so let me just do this really quick.
I will say, while you're getting that set up and everything, obviously we are a little short-handed today. Two of our other normies, I guess you will call them, are not with us. One of them has to work and the other one has no excuse, so we have no idea where he is. So the hater of the heisei era, I guess, does not want to be on the show because he would probably be bashed. But at the same time, I would have loved to hear his opinions on this, because I want to know why someone doesn't like something or someone loves something. Like, I want to have that banter and talk about it, because we here at MWA, we embrace all of everybody's different opinions and sayings and everything that goes on with the Godzilla verse and franchise and anime and whatever we're talking about here. We welcome all of that and stuff like that. So yeah, it would have been nice, but you know, it is what it is. We're gonna ride with the three horsemen here, and
that's right.
So
all right, so to get things started, I apologize. I don't know why it looks like that, but let me just do this.
Like I stated before, technical difficulties, and we will work out the bugs.
So, do you guys see the question a lot better now? Is it right there?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So, my first question to you guys and to those in the chat: how did you first come across this movie? I know that being a 95 baby, and obviously I didn't get into Godzilla until 1997, being introduced to Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. I am well aware that this movie did not come out in America as of, I can't recall, but I do know that obviously we have had multiple of stories of how we were introduced to these movies and stuff like that. So I guess I will ask Eric first, what or how did you first come across this specific movie in Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla?
Oh man, it's gonna be hard. I remember bits and pieces of when I saw this, but initially when I first found out about this movie, coincidentally enough, it happened. And I don't know if you guys were ever introduced to this, but if you guys know about the Godzilla studio tour, that was a CD-ROM that you could play on computers.
Yes,
you ever
yes.
see or hear about that shit or play it or anything like that? No.
No. I've seen gameplay. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's where they showed the Bagan suit, correct?
Yes. That's absolutely right. Like the Bagan that we've gotten right now for the Bandai Movie Monster series, that's where it was first introduced, was on that CD-ROM, like live, like interactive computer game and stuff like that. And on that computer game, they had a area where you can make your own movies, I guess you could call it. And what they would do is they would just make or give you clips from different movies, and you could kind of splice it into one and then play it, and then that's kind of your movie. So it wasn't like the same movie. You could put different movies into one and kind of make your own kind of weird looking, but you know, obviously it was for kids and stuff like that. They can kind of use your imagination. So actually, that's actually how I found out about the Heisei era, besides Godzilla versus Biollante. Everything else, I never knew it even existed until I played that CD-ROM and found those clips. I had no idea there was Godzilla versus King Ghidorah 91 or Godzilla versus Mothra 92, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 93, SpaceGodzilla, and Destroya. I had no idea. Now, mind you, when I grew up, like the internet was kind of just starting and stuff like that. It wasn't, you know, so obviously a lot of the stuff was kind of getting on the web and everything. So there wasn't a plethora of knowledge and resources you could use as like there is today. So it was very limited and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't know about that stuff till I played that CD-ROM. And other than that, I honestly don't even remember the first time I actually watched the movie. Honestly, I know I bought the VHS when it first came out here in the States, but other than that, I don't remember what got me to get the movie or how I got it or if I bought it, if I got it for my, a gift. I don't really know. I just remember how I came upon knowing of the actual Heisei era as an entirety, and I was blown away because I was like, I've never seen these movies. I've never seen these clips. What are these monsters? What are these movies? I was like, this is all new to me. I was like, where is this stuff over here, man? I was like, it's all in Japan and everything, but there's nothing here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so it's kind of vague on how I actually watched this movie for the first time. So it's just, and that's happens with a lot of these movies. I just don't remember. It just doesn't, click in my head where, okay, this is when I watched it and I was watching this with this person or this situation. I just don't remember, honestly. So
that's what happens with old age, buddy.
He ain't wrong. And when you get kids, you lose freaking brain cells and your hair and everything.
Oh my God. Listen, you guys, Eric's a spring chicken. He is just as young as everybody else here alive right now. No, but that's cool, man. That's, oh my goodness. I do know the game itself, or the encyclopedia-esque of a computer game that was showcasing all of the Heisei movies and stuff like that. And like I mentioned earlier, that's where we actually got to see like a render of a Bagan suit. So that I remember seeing that, not during that specific time frame, but holy shit, you just brought me back. I completely forgot about that game. Wow.
It's funny because I actually still have the game. I actually have 2 copies of the CD-ROM, but I have no way of playing them because they only played on like a Mac 93 or some shit. And that's the only way. Like, you can't try and play them now because they're just not compatible. So there's really no way of actually playing them. So
that sucks. Oh man. Well, I guess the question will be directed to you, Adrian. How did you come across Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla?
So it was a hot night in Texas, as always. And TNT announced the movie Monster Marathon. I want to say it either 1999 or 2000. It's the years. I'm kind of fuzzy on the year, but they advertised all new Godzilla movies. I was like, wait, what? There's more Godzilla movies after Biollante? So, being an engineer child as I was, I put my blank VHS in the VCR, hit record as soon as the movie marathon started, and just let it go from there. And next morning, I woke up, watched all the movies, and then I saw Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla on that recorded VHS because I didn't know those movies existed until that movie marathon even came out. So I was like, what is it? What's SpaceGodzilla? Who the hell is SpaceGodzilla?
No, yeah, dude.
For real.
That was my first encounter with it, and as much as this movie does get bashed on, I love it.
Nah, it's same here, man. Like for me, my first exposure to this movie was during a family trip to Queens, New York, to go ahead and visit my uncle. And he'd always put on the TV for his nephews, me and my 3 younger brothers. And it just so happened to be one day, and we were planning out exactly what we were going to do for this day. My uncle was just putting on the TV just to kill time, and it just so happened to have Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla. So, of course, knowing the only nephew out of the 4 boys running around like freaking deranged lunatics in his apartment was the biggest fan of Godzilla. Of course, he had to, make sure that he was well aware that they were showing Godzilla on TV. And the scene that lived and to this very moment lives rent-free in my mind was Godzilla's first encounter with SpaceGodzilla and trapping this beloved little distinguished gentleman that terrorized me my entire childhood until finally coming across the actual double DVD feature with the SpaceGodzilla and Destroyer movie that TriStar released later on in later years and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, that was my overall exposure to the movie. Like I said, it has lived rent free for me till the end of time. So yeah, now let's what did Leslie Chambers say? My God, this film is the destroy all monsters of the Heisei era. Wow. A movie with so much potential and an interesting concept, but fails miserably. Ooh. We should have had Leslie in the show, if anything. Damn.
I mean, I agree. There was a lot of potential to be had for this movie for sure. I mean, we're talking about a doppelganger of Godzilla, for God's sakes. Like it's the first time it was done, and stuff like that. I mean, obviously besides Mechagodzilla, but like something that was made from his cells, his genes, and could have put up a fight, or as much as a fight, even more than Godzilla himself, and could have taken him down. Like there was a lot you could have done, and honestly, the story was very lacking.
Okay, all right. So that is one of the. All right, so we'll get to that. Hold your horses, Mr. Stoll. Hold your horses. All right, hold on one second. We'll get this popped up right here. So right here, I know obviously, Eric, you're going a bit into the stories of Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla, but we'll get to that momentarily. But to dive into, I guess, one of the main key factors in the story is specifically the human protagonists. And so who is your most and your least favorite human character in Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla?
You want me to go first?
Yes, you can, my friend.
I will say none. I hated them all.
Not all, Eric.
Yeah. Every single one didn't make sense. They didn't do anything with them. Like I said, it's this human story is so terrible. It's terrible. It's bad. Oof. I cringe. There's not even one that I like. Not even remotely a blip on the radar. There's nothing.
Well, that's the end of the show, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Wow, dude, really?
Yep. This is the movie. And now I've said this before, and I will reiterate this. I say this about Godzilla versus Gigan too, and I know Leslie's in the chat, and he defends Godzilla versus Gigan, but it's the movie where I fast forward through the human story and I watch the kaiju action. That's it. I will fast forward everything else, avoid the terrible human aspect of the characters, and just go to the kaiju action. That is it. That's what I do. So that's how terrible this human characters are, because there's nothing to them. There's not enough going for him. I mean, Yuki could have been probably the most interesting one. He had this vendetta against Godzilla, okay? Yes, but they didn't flush it out. They didn't go in depth with it. They didn't stay with that idea. He was so nonchalant about everything he was doing. It was almost like he didn't care that his friend died from Godzilla. It was just like, I'm going to try to get him, but, if I don't, it's okay. It's like I wanted it to be more believable. where
Yeah.
he really was mourning his friend's death and that he was really out to get Godzilla. So if they would have actually maybe shown how his friend died, well, I mean, they did in 89 when he was in one of the towers when he shot the bio agent, in Godzilla. Okay, that's fine, but like a little bit more with that, maybe showing a little bit of a scene with the two in it together. Maybe showing Yuki kind of struggling with the death of him would have made it more believable. Maybe more emotion with the movie, where he was like, he was really mourning his friend's death, but really had to kind of overcome it to beat the greater of two evils, and that was SpaceGodzilla, and everything like that, and maybe still show that, like, even though he helped Godzilla win, he still hates him and stuff like that. But it didn't go that way. It went from him hating Godzilla to him helping Godzilla to like him getting a boner for the girl. Like it went one direction to then veer to another, and it made no sense, So that's why I don't like these characters. And then you have the other two actors are like the leads and stuff like that. They were just kind of, they were Robins. They didn't do anything. They were just kind of there on Yuki's tail, just kind of holding on for the ride, and they didn't do anything with it. And one was supposed to be Miki Sagusa's love interest as per se and stuff like that. But he was kind of a pansy. I mean, I don't understand it and everything. So I don't know. Their characters, their development was not there. They just threw them in there. Miki Sagusa, obviously we know she is the staple for the Heisei series.
Absolutely.
We know that and everything. But I wanted to know more about why she wanted to save Godzilla. More in depth with that, of her reasonings and stuff like that. Just kind of flush out more of her character and stuff like that, and what she was all about and everything. And then honestly, this is the tip of the iceberg here. Tip of the iceberg is that for human characters in this film, then they bring in the mafia where they kidnap Mickey. I was like, what am I watching here? Like, what is this? The mafia wants part of taking over Godzilla now? Like, what the I didn't understand it. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, one of the worst human characters stories in the Godzilla franchise for sure.
Wow. Jesus Christ, Eric. Holy shit. Adrian, go right ahead. Who's your favorite and least favorite human character in this movie?
You know what's funny? It's the exact same person.
What?
Miki Sagusa is my favorite and least favorite person in this movie.
Oh, damn.
I do love how she has evolved to really grown to love Godzilla and think of Godzilla as not a person, but a creature that does have feelings and things of that nature. I did like that aspect of it, but it didn't give her shit to do in the movie. He was just there, just fawning over Godzilla. I was like, no, we're not going to do nothing. Like even the what they try to do with the telekinesis. What was that shit called? Either way, they even flushed that out. She wasn't even able to take control of Godzilla either, so she was legit just there for face value. And Eric was right. This is the absolute worst human story in one of the worst human stories in Godzilla history. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't like I said, Biggie's my favorite, but he's my least favorite too. Everybody else in this movie is.
Wow. Well, damn, I feel like now I'm gonna be the only one that really has a.
Please, I would love an explanation of why these characters were good in any way, shape, or form.
Mind you, I do agree with majority of what you guys are saying in terms of what we have had previous and what we would have afterwards in Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. Leslie, no fucking shit. Oh man. But no, yes, I get it. You know, these are definitely the weaker link in terms of the human characters from what we've had in the Heisei era for Godzilla. For me, it's just as simple as this: having the motive of what you know you were going to do, to then have a change of heart, seeing a different perspective. My personal favorite character in this entire movie was Shinjo, Lieutenant Shinjo, the main protagonist in the movie, who was paired up with Mickey in a sense. And it, like I said, mentioning that he was my favorite character in the movie, it was just as simple as this. He had a motive to kill Godzilla, or at least to stop Godzilla. And then obviously as the movie progressed, throughout his adventures in, what was it, Odo Island? That wasn't Odo Island. What was the name of the island in the movie?
Jesus.
Don't know.
I can't think of it. Yeah. Well, we'll just call it the Heisei era's Monster Island. We'll just stick with that.
There you go.
Coming across the island, already having the objective, the mindset of any other member working for G-Force, and that is to stop Godzilla. Later on, obviously, as he's the lead pilot, or ends up becoming the lead pilot in Mogira, attempts to aid Godzilla to fend off this much more larger threat in SpaceGodzilla, then realizing that we need Godzilla more than we think we do. My least favorite character, and this is not even a main character in the freaking movie, was the boss who dragged his employee to play those fucking claw machines and was fucking leaving him dry. Took every single fucking yen out of this motherfucker's pockets. And then and then when SpaceGodzilla flies over the freaking wherever it was that they were at, it was jackpot after jackpot after jackpot, and then he drags and tries to fucking pull his employee out after he's now having a good fucking time. Fucking ripoff. I'll tell you one thing's for sure. I would not want to work with a motherfucker like that. Hell no.
You know, and it's funny that you say that, because that was karma, because then he got all of those prizes and everything. He's putting it in a bag, and then the bag gets ripped and everything and he loses it all. I was like, boom, karma, bitch.
Oh, man. But again, like this isn't and I might be a little bit biased, especially being a huge fan of Ultraman Z, knowing that the character who plays Shinjo returned as one of the lead mechanics that helped build oh my goodness, what a beautiful poster, that helped build, what was it, it was King Joe or whatever name he was given in the show. I don't remember, but anyways, maybe that also has a huge factor for me picking him to be one of my favorite characters. But it is just, for me, being a big fan of Godzilla, especially in the Heisei era, I feel like they pushed this message a lot, and that is, despite Godzilla being this massive threat to society, the bigger picture is that we need him more than you will ever know. Because God forbid there's a larger threat coming in, whether it be from outer space, underneath the depths of the sea, a man-made creation that cannot be tamed. Who is there to stop it? Not the government, not G-Force, not any other military use of weapon. Godzilla. That is your ultimate answer. So now that we got all that, out of the way, that was an interesting take. Holy crap!
But was it? You talk about him, and it's just like the only reason why he changed his mind.
Oh, because he was trying to clamp Mickey's cheeks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all it was, is that he wanted to get with her, so he did a 180. It was like, oh yeah, no, we need to save Godzilla now.
Well, listen, I've said this multiple times. Maybe you need a little bit of charm in your life, a little bit of a woman's touch. for you to change your mind on things. So I'm just saying. All right. Now we'll get into, I guess, the start of the more interesting topics. And that is just to start off with this. What is everybody's first impression of SpaceGodzilla? This time, Adrian, you can take the floor by starting off answering this question.
I will start my answer with what Helmi said. SpaceGodzilla design is perfect. Absolutely love everything about SpaceGodzilla. I know this is the Treadmasters version, but my SpaceGodzilla over there, I'm not picking him up. But I mean, he's just such an awesome looking kaiju. He literally does look just like Godzilla, and the color the colors they made the actual design, the fact that he's able to extrude crystals, and the form that never gets talked about, his flying form, is pretty fucking awesome too. I wish you got more of that in the film as well. I absolutely loved SpaceGodzilla the second it came on the screen.
Eric.
I mean, I can't dispute that. Like, his overall design is amazing. I love the mixture between Godzilla and Biollante, where they gave him the backstory where, you know, those two are even a piece of Mothra is kind of mixed in there too, you know, kind of thing, kind of the three, but it's really it's mainly the two. But I love, you know, the design of how they incorporated the two designs of Godzilla and Biollante into one to make SpaceGodzilla. I would have really loved to have more of a backstory for SpaceGodzilla than, you know, some cells went into a black hole and got spit out of a white hole, and here you go, kind of thing. But it's like, why would he come back to Earth? Where would he know? Or, you know, what was his purpose for coming back to Earth? Did he sense Godzilla? Was there something that he's drawn to? You know, what is it? You know, kind of thing. Other than the backstory, which was very lacking and weak, his overall look is amazing. Like,
absolutely,
he's very fierce looking. He's really, really cool with the big shoulders, diamonds and stuff like that, which is very different out of the ordinary, but made sense because he was made of exploding stars and everything like that. So, you know, you put that to kind of look into him. You know, his powers and the abilities that he have are amazing. Like, they really are. Like, you saw it in the later movies that kind of other monsters kind of had similar things, kind of like the anti-gravity beams that Kaiser Ghidorah kind of had.
Yes,
he had it first with his telekinesis, where he could pick things up and everything like that and move them around and whatever. Like, that was amazing. Like, Godzilla couldn't move; he was just throwing them everywhere, left and right.
Oh my god!
He made his own power source. Like, he was getting stronger because he made it. So then he made it his fortress and everything. Like, that's crazy. He can literally bring his own battery wherever he goes, and then there, you know, like, he basically just keeps recharging himself. Like, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, and I agree, Adrian, like, his flying form is very unique, very different. It does, you know, it's just big old crystal with little crystals kind of poking out of it, and everything just looks like a battering ram kind of flying through space and everything, which is pretty intimidating, to say the least. So overall, his design is amazing. I love the creature. I'm actually kind of sad I don't have more of SpaceGodzilla, but really these two and maybe the Bandai is kind of all I have for SpaceGodzilla collectibles and stuff like that. But yeah, I need to rectify that and get more. But yeah, his overall look is amazing. He's very, very powerful. And yeah, I kind of wish we could have seen more of him and everything throughout the franchise.
So, to add to the SpaceGodzilla hype train, I would just like to pull up Leslie's comment, and this is exactly what I was thinking about. At least SpaceGodzilla was the only monster that actually upstaged Godzilla. I actually respect the monster that gives Godzilla a run for his money. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
SpaceGodzilla definitely is one of my all-time favorite, if not Godzilla monsters, but definitely in my top 3 favorite Godzilla kaiju villains. Just the style of it is unique. The overall design is, in my opinion, top tier. Every time I go to a museum or even like stores where they will sell like those little space crystals and stuff like that, anything like diamond related, I will look at that shit. When I was picking up Michelle's engagement ring, all I said to myself was, SpaceGodzilla. Like every time I see some type of crystal, I always identify it with SpaceGodzilla. But going a little bit going back to the statement that I made about SpaceGodzilla being one of my top 3 favorite Godzilla villains of all time. And this is going to be a side note of a question that's still related to that of SpaceGodzilla.
Yeah.
Did SpaceGodzilla or does SpaceGodzilla live up to the realm of a true Godzilla villain?
Absolutely. I mean, he gave him a run for his money. Like I said, he was literally making his own battlefield and basically a fortress to protect himself. And obviously had to take 2, I guess, monsters, because Mogera's not a monster.
Yeah, no.
But another giant-sized
mech.
Yeah, mech or being or whatever you want to really call him. And plus Godzilla, who, by the way, had to increase his power
to be able to beat him.
Plus, they had to destroy his power source, power sources and everything, just so he stopped absorbing and everything to beat him. So there was a lot of things that had to happen for Godzilla to become the victor over his evil doppelganger. So yeah, I absolutely think that he is up there. And once we all answer this, I have another side question for you guys also to kind of go along with this little thing we're talking about. So
okay. I'm down for that. Adrian, go right ahead.
I completely agree, especially in the Heisei era. As crazy as it sounds, SpaceGodzilla was probably Godzilla's toughest enemy besides Mechagodzilla, who almost killed him.
Yeah.
But yeah, SpaceGodzilla was definitely him for sure, and definitely gave Godzilla one for his money. Probably without Mogera's help, Godzilla probably was not beating SpaceGodzilla. Probably the only reason why he won, because he had to tag team him, which again, which we don't see that. We honestly don't. That's the only time we see that in the Heisei era. Godzilla gets double teamed, but Godzilla needed help to be able to defeat SpaceGodzilla. Otherwise, Godzilla was going to be on a milk carton.
Very true. Yeah.
You know, Eric, you said that they had to destroy one of SpaceGodzilla's power sources. You're talking about specifically the building, correct? Didn't they have to destroy 2? The building and the crystals on his shoulders?
Yeah, and his shoulders, yeah.
So it's, oh man, like, I'm gonna be honest, my personal top 3 Godzilla villains, ranking them, it goes SpaceGodzilla as number 1, Mechagodzilla, and then King Ghidorah. And that is to not sleep on King Ghidorah, because I absolutely love King Ghidorah. But yeah, and it doesn't make it any better, at least for SpaceGodzilla, and just living up to the badass type of villain that he is. I want to commemorate Matt Frank for his work with the SpaceGodzilla comic book that he did. I believe it was about like a year ago or something like that. I can't
remember that. I haven't read it, but I remember that. Yeah.
The Rivals one?
Yes. Okay. That, the moment I saw that he was going to be working on that, I went to every comic book store in Connecticut in search for this. And obviously with the story that he had presented to us about SpaceGodzilla, not that it was lore, but it was definitely giving us more of a relatable story to SpaceGodzilla, giving us a different side of him. And oh my God, all I have to say is literally squashed that freaking little infant at the end, and it was like, Jesus Christ, the Frieza of the Godzilla era. Holy shit.
Dude, for real.
That's very accurate, honestly.
Oh my God. But Eric, what was the question you wanted to ask?
So to go along with this kind of question of SpaceGodzilla, I have to ask, do you guys feel that SpaceGodzilla is the strongest foe Godzilla has ever faced? And if you don't, who is above him?
No, just the Heisei era or in general, Eric?
In general, overall.
Oh, I already told you. Go ahead, Adrian. Oh,
no, it's close because I think even someone in the comments even mentioned Hedorah too, which we know how. Good God, we know what Godzilla happened with Hedorah. So,
oh my God,
really, I feel like it's neck and neck with SpaceGodzilla and Hedorah, honestly.
So Space and Hedorah are like right there.
Right there, yeah.
Okay, so there's not one above him at all.
Oh. They both handily gave Godzilla a good ass whooping.
Hey, but Godzilla beat Hedorah by himself.
True.
Sort of,
yeah.
Oh man, that is a good one. I feel like that's a little bit more hard to answer than what I just asked. I feel like what I just asked was mediocre compared to that shit. Oh man, God, I'm just thinking about the bloodbath Mechagodzilla had Godzilla experience in 1974. I'm even thinking about specifically the Heisei era when Mechagodzilla basically stood there and watched Godzilla almost in a sense die, paralyzing his entire lower body. How SpaceGodzilla handled Godzilla, to me, like if I'm Godzilla, it's embarrassing as all hell. He was tossing and turning him in any way, shape, or form. And Oscar mentioned this. He even imprisoned his son early in the movie and just flew away without a care in the world. Like, oh my God. For me, listen, you guys know I have a soft spot. Or if anything, you guys know I'll go above and beyond for my niece. I'll do anything. I'll go above and beyond the world for her. God forbid SpaceGodzilla came down and imprisoned her. Best believe I'm going out of my way to freaking, I don't know, just gouge his eyes out or some shit. And there's so much to think about it with SpaceGodzilla. Not only what he did in the movie, but what he's done in other, sources of media, whether it be comic books, mangas, video games. My God. As a double, all right, I'll say this. Because I still think Mechagodzilla is the more superior arch nemesis to Godzilla than that of King Ghidorah. As a double ganger, as Godzilla's double ganger, he might have to top Mechagodzilla for this one. Like I said, he is the Frieza of the Godzilla era. And we all know, for us Dragon Ball fans, how much of a dick Frieza can be and his true motives whenever it is that involves Goku or Kakarot or however the hell he wants to pronounce his name. So, SpaceGodzilla, you are a fucking piece of shit. But you are a piece of shit that I love. So that was a good question, Eric. I like that question actually a lot. All right. Now that and that was, I like that. That was actually a killer of a question because everybody in the comment section is having a blast with it.
Yeah. Now, we could go on this, like we could talk about this, and I think we have, but like
yes.
We have.
this is not the time and place for this one, but we have talked about this, and you've heard my opinions on this one too. So I mean,
I think Leslie only threw that comment in there to try to throw in the who defeated Mechagodzilla in that film.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Just leave us alone, Leslie. All right. So since I said dude, what do I send in the fucking chat? Leslie, when the Viking Raiders won the tag team championships, I sent it in the group chat. Was like, congrats, Joe and Aaron. Every time I see them, I'm like, no way, there's Eric and freaking Joe. When I met them, because I watched the Viking Raiders before they were known for that. They were known as the War Raiders in New Japan and Ring of Honor. And when I met Eric and Joe for the first time 2 years ago, that was the first thing I thought about was freaking the War Raiders. Holy crap. I love you, Leslie. Great minds think alike. All right. So outside of that, I know Leslie had already made his point across with this statement. Thoughts on Toho bringing back Mogira for this film? All right, so this is going to be another, I guess, another question to follow up with this. If not Mogira, who else would you want to see Toho bring back to replace Mogira in a sense? So the first, ask or answer the question. What are your thoughts on Toho bringing back Mogira, Eric?
It was another missed opportunity. It was nice to see that they still remembered Mogira from 57. You know, like it was nice that they were like, hey, like remember this robot, you know, and everything, even though that robot was, I mean, controlled by space aliens. They just kind of use it as a government mech and everything. But yeah, it didn't do anything for me. I could have taken it or left it. You know, it didn't change the movie. It didn't make it better. It didn't really make it worse. He was just kind of there to make it seem like the humans were really trying to stop SpaceGodzilla 2, like they were doing.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, like what could they have done if they didn't have a giant mech against SpaceGodzilla with all of his abilities and everything? They couldn't do anything. They would have been flies, you know, going on against a freaking elephant. You know, they wouldn't have done anything to him. So they kind of had to throw something in there that was like, hey, like, let's put something gigantic that the humans can control and can help Godzilla defeat SpaceGodzilla. But yeah, it's cool. It's great, I guess, but I can live without it if they didn't do it too. I mean, it's meh, you know, I don't know. I don't know. He's just kind of there, I guess, you know.
All right. So then to follow it up with, if given the opportunity, it could be that you either would have rather not have anything else in this movie, or do you have an idea of who you would want to replace Mogira with?
I mean, honestly, they should have probably just put Mechagodzilla right back in there. You know,
okay.
I mean, could you imagine a triple threat of Godzilla?
Oh my
god! You know, the OG. You got the OG. You got the mechanical doppelganger, and then you got the space doppelganger. Like, the triple threat, I mean, that would have been really, really interesting and really cool, honestly, because, I mean, they built him once. Why not just build him again? I mean, I don't know. It's, like I said, a missed opportunity. They could have had something really cool and everything like that. But, they just kind of went with something else. It's like, why go with something else when you already have something established, and stuff like that. I guess they would have said, oh, it's too damaged to be repaired, but like then how the hell did you make Mogera? Yeah.
Adrian. Oh damn, he had
Mogera is the biggest piece of shit that ever lives. I love the design of Mogera, but Mogera didn't do jack fucking shit in this fucking movie.
It's okay. He can't hurt you anymore. He can't hurt you anymore. It's okay.
You probably shattered Helmy's heart.
Probably. Look, okay, Helmy, he's safe. He's safe. I got him. He's safe. You can't hurt him.
I know. But the Mogera in this movie was just so fucking stupid. The worst fucking one of the worst decisions Toho ever fucking made in this fucking franchise. My fucking god. And yet, to answer the second question, yes, we should have got fucking Mega Godzilla back. Why the fuck would we not want to see a battle royale of 3 fucking versions of Godzilla? What the fuck was Soho smoking at the time? What it was like, you know what? We just had Mega Godzilla. Let's not bring him back because that'll be fucking stupid. We don't want to see Mega Godzilla again. Why the fuck we want to do that? But no, we should have got fucking Mega Godzilla back because especially. And I know a lot of people don't like Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 either, but that version of Mechagodzilla is a fucking tank. Can you imagine him against SpaceGodzilla? Good God.
Wait, but Leslie brought up that it is actually not true. Mogera did destroy SpaceGodzilla's crystals.
Both of them.
Mechagodzilla could have done that too, Leslie.
Well, granted, he was being distracted, but whatever. He still got those shots in on him. He can I did that. Yeah. He's that guy who was like is a pansy in a fight, but he's like, yeah, I still got that one jab in on him. Did you see that?
And he also knocked SpaceGodzilla down from his feet, so gave him a good old shoulder tackle right there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's true also, but Mechagodzilla could have done a lot more, honestly. I would have loved to see Mechagodzilla in there.
Probably.
I am going to be completely honest. Nathaniel mentioned this. And this is before I give to answer the question first before I get into who I want to replace Mogera with, if given the option. That was actually my first exposure to the Mogera character was in Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla. It wasn't until obviously like later on, like I really started like getting into the knickknacks of figuring out how to work a computer. Again, I was raised by 2 strict Puerto Rican parents. And so the computer they bought was the computer that they were only allowed to use. If we wanted to use it, we were under a freaking surveillance like it was freaking the government eyeing Michael Scofield from fucking Prison Break. Holy shit. But yeah, that was my first exposure to Mogera. But yeah, like it was lackluster, especially in comparison to that of what he had originally brought to the table in the show era in the Mysterians movie. So that was my only downfall with it. It's funny because one of my younger brothers, every time we would go and play Godzilla Save the Earth on the PlayStation 2, one time he was just in the mood to just, I guess, want to show off his capability of thinking, if I'm good at Smash, I'm good at any other fighting game in the world. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hook you up with Godzilla Save the Earth. So he was doing good at first, and he was playing as Anguirus. So I was like, okay. And then he went up against Mogera. He went up against the motherfucker 4 times and lost 4 times to Moguera. And from that moment, he was like, this is my Joker in my life. This is the Frieza in my life. Moguera. Fuck that piece of shit. And I'm like, dude, you just suck. I don't know what else to tell you, dude. But as for replacing Moguera, Nathaniel mentioned earlier Jet Jaguar. And I thought that would have been amazing to bring back Jet Jaguar in this, especially to not commemorate Godzilla versus Megalon, because that would have been a year too late. But to showcase the tag team action that Godzilla needed to be able to defeat SpaceGodzilla. But now that you guys are bringing up Super Mechagodzilla, I would have never thought to bring back Super Mechagodzilla. And now having that, like, just that thought in my head, that's that little, like, oh my goodness, I would have preferred. And Super Mechagodzilla, or let alone Mechagodzilla 93, is my all-time favorite Mechagodzilla. It's my favorite Mechagodzilla design. One of my favorite movies, absolutely. That was the first physical media of Godzilla movies that I've ever owned. So that's another reason as to why. But yeah, I guess I'm sorry, Moguera. Listen, if Toho thought that they're going to do justice by bringing you back, I'm sorry, buddy. Now I would have preferred for them to bring back Mechagodzilla, because holy shit.
And honestly, I don't feel that Jet Jaguar would have fit the aesthetic of the Heisei series. He's just it just wouldn't have fit. It wouldn't have gone that, it would have been too out of the box, I guess. Just it wouldn't have fit into the realm of what they were trying to accomplish and everything like that. So bringing something, I guess, new, you can't really say it's new, but it's new because it hadn't been seen for almost 50 years. Well, 40 some, it's under 40 years and stuff like that. So it's just kind of, it is what it is. We got what we got, and that's about it.
And that was another thing I was thinking about that too, taking that into consideration, the type of tone that was the Heisei era in comparison to obviously that of the Showa era. It is definitely night and day. Hence the reason why I was like, I would have never thought for them to bring back Super Mechagodzilla until you guys started bringing up your point of views, including that of Leslie, who also mentioned that as well. But now obviously, we're talking about them bringing back Moguera, introducing us to SpaceGodzilla. Where does your heart sit with this beloved, distinguished little gentleman in Little Godzilla?
I think I remember Eric's thoughts. As Eric's still pondering that, I honestly love Little Godzilla a lot. I have my place for him is around here somewhere, but I love Little Godzilla. We honestly don't have enough representation.
How can you say no to this little guy?
Exactly. Look at that cute little shit. Like, he's just adorable. He's an adorable little shit. I love Little Godzilla. We need more Little Godzilla.
Come on.
We need more Little Godzilla.
We do. You know what? Fuck the positive potato. This is the MWA mascot right here. and I also purchased, spoiler, the new Bandai movie monster series Little Godzilla alongside the 94 figure.
I need to get that Little Godzilla too, actually.
Eric, where does your heart sit with Little Godzilla? All right, really quick, don't be a dick. He is a baby still.
I mean, he's not baby Godzilla, so
he just falls in that. He just falls in that realm with Moguera. He's just kind of he's just, I don't know, maybe he's in an awkward stage where he's kind of I don't know. Like it's just. I guess I have never thought like too intently about little Godzilla. Honestly, like he's there. He's like the cute factor, but like he doesn't really like. I mean, he's useless. Like he's like at least Minya put up a fight.
Minions are dog shit though.
Running, rolling on the ground, looking for Mama, like and hiding behind him. Like, come on, like I don't know. I don't know. I like I said, I've never thought too hard about little Godzilla. He's just kind of there, and that's just the way. That's where he is.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I gotta throw this up.
Ugly bastard, baby Godzilla. Like he got out of school.
Oh God!
Fun fact:
Big eyes.
I don't understand the hate for Minya. I love Minya. I love Baby Godzilla or the Godzillasaur. I love Little Godzilla. I don't know, just something about shit. I fucking love Godzuki. I don't know what it is about Godzilla's infant or adopted children, but it is just so out of character for Godzilla that it just draws my attention to the franchise so much more, even specifically those that are portraying, Godzilla's infant. I love Final Wars Minya. Dude, like, if there's anything I don't like, it's those little fucking dickwads of fucking Raptors in '98. That's the one thing I did not fuck with. Listen, I did like the concept; it was dope. Again, but if it was a different movie, instead of it being called Godzilla, I would have had a different opinion. But, dude, in Japan, the big five are Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, Ghidorah, and Minya. Whereas for here in America, we replaced Minya with Mechagodzilla.
As we should. Minya sucks.
But dude, I don't know. I love Minya. Same thing why I love Little Godzilla. Like, I don't know. I love that little chibi look. You guys know I'm a sucker for like little chibi freaking finger puppet stylized Godzilla figures. Even if it be Digimon, anime, Super Sentai, anything related. Even like I even have a few freaking little chibi Gamera figures in my collection. I fucking love it. I don't know, that's maybe a guilty pleasure of mine, but when it came down to Little Godzilla, and again, this also has to take into accountability, my first exposure to the movie was the scene where fucking SpaceGodzilla trapped Little Godzilla. And I was like, you fucking asshole. Like, I'm not gonna forget that face. And it's funny when I bought the movie, and I didn't even, unfortunately, at that time when I was first exposed to the movie, that was the only scene I saw before we left and went about the rest of our days in New York. But when I actually owned the movie and watching it all the way to the end, I was like, let's fucking go. And then seeing that Little Godzilla was free and was shooting his little bubble bath of a freaking atomic blast or whatever, I lost my shit. I was so happy, screaming up and down. I don't know. I absolutely love Little Godzilla. And by the way, Leslie, I don't drink eggnog. I'm Puerto Rican, so I drink coquito. So, yes.
So, another side question.
Okay.
Because we're wrapping up this question kind of thing. Out of the 3 iterations we got for the Heisei representing Godzilla's offspring, which one's your favorite?
Minya.
Junior.
No. In the Heisei only.
Baby.
Junior. Absolutely the best.
I say baby. And I think for me with baby, it was definitely given a different role for the character, and then obviously bringing it back for Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. It was just a different take of the character, having that human relationship with who he thought was his birth mother. Obviously, you guys know who I'm talking about. And basically her aiding him the entire time in the movie, experiencing what they did. I like that little bit of I guess you could call it like character development in Baby Godzilla. And especially as the years progressed, hence the reason why he ended up being Godzilla Jr. It was just, for me, it was a good, nice, fresh start to reintroduce another infant to Godzilla. Knowing that Godzilla went above and beyond in that movie to try to get his son back was another key factor to me. It was just like, wow, like, holy shit. That's the type of thing I know I would go above and beyond for again, my niece or even a kid of my own. So yeah, for me, it's going to be Baby.
So you were just talking about what he did above and beyond for what he did in 93, correct?
Mm-hmm.
In 93, Godzilla is Goku and fucking Rodan is Piccolo. Tell me I'm wrong, honestly. Tell me I'm wrong. Rodan did more for that damn infant than Godzilla ever gave a crap about.
Oh my God.
Don't tell me. You tell me I'm wrong. Come on.
You're wrong. Nah, I'm just kidding, dude. That's a good analogy, but God damn it, man.
God.
Listen, the only thing that drives me insane, or at least that would make me think otherwise, is that one fucking commercial where it's because he's my best friend, and his fucking baby is Minya and Godzilla, and at the end it takes a man to be a dad. And you get Godzilla riding on, or Minya riding on Godzilla's tail at the end of the fucking trailer, the commercial. So that every time I see Godzilla, even in Final Wars, which he had no interest in Minya whatsoever. If anything, it was Minya looking for this motherfucker, trying to stop him.
Totally Goku the whole time.
Oh my God. So like I'd always think of that commercial, but I guess you're right in a sense, Eric. Oh, motherfucker.
Just had to throw it out there.
You just ruined my overall thought of the movie, and that's one of my all-time favorite fucking movies.
Oh, God.
But that is, I guess, a pretty spot-on depiction and stuff like that. And then wasn't the egg in Rodan's nest to begin with, or some shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he was probably keeping it warm for Godzilla until the motherfucker came back.
Godzilla's like, no, thank you. You take care of it. I'll come back when it's born.
Oh man, I'll take care of the easy part. You could just handle all the fucking hard working and oh my God, that's hilarious.
Oh, the sitting.
All right, so that was a little fun topic. So obviously we talked about Goku, Godzilla going above and beyond to save his son, all the other bullshit that goes on. One thing that I do love about the Heisei era, and I feel like each movie has its own subliminal message. What message did you think this movie was trying to direct towards the audience?
Story kind of sucks, so it's hard to find a message. to be 100% honest,
for me, I feel like there's only one right answer to this.
Please elaborate, because I have zero. I honestly, I don't. To me, I didn't see anything besides kind of more of the obvious. But
all right. So what was obvious? What was obvious?
All I kind of would take away from that would be like overcoming adversity, with this big obstacle kind of in your way, and you overcoming, what's standing in your way to accomplish your goal. Maybe forgiveness, as in, with Yuki, in a sense, kind of forgiving Godzilla at the end, but maybe more, exactly, quotes very heavily. But him kind of trying to put the past in the past kind of thing, and maybe trying to understand Godzilla as a animal instead of this, this destructive force kind of thing. And maybe that has to do with Mickey. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, other than that, that's all I kind of. Oh, God. That's all I really see, I guess.
All right, Adrian.
Like Eric officially said, not really shit. Maybe like Eric said, forgiveness, maybe, but really even that, like, okay, like, yeah, he like again, quotation marks. It's just, there's no message. This movie, the story is fucking trash.
So, because this isn't even specifically like, I mean, I get it. The story should also be able to tell and give a much more brighter picture, to be able to identify the type of message that they are trying to send out. I feel like that could be accomplished in many other ways other than just the story. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna tie in a little bit with what both of you guys said about maybe a little bit of forgiveness and also unity, wanting to work together to try to beat whatever obstacle is in front of you. It all ties into this one thing that I personally believe is the overall message that they were trying to direct towards the audience. Love. Every character besides Sato, I feel bad for him. He had no sense of grabbing or hooking up with any type of piece of ass in this entire movie. We had obviously Shinjo's love interest in that of Mickey. You had Yuki, who had obviously the love interest with the other female actress that was, in the movie. I guess you could say Godzilla's love for little Godzilla, and I'm gonna stick to it, going again above and beyond to fucking manhandle or try to at least destroy SpaceGodzilla to try to get his son free again. Even the closer of the fucking movie, dude. What was the name of the song? Because of Love or something like that. I can't remember the name of the song that was playing at the end of the movie, but there was a lot that, again, it ties in with exactly what you guys are saying. And I personally think out of every Godzilla movie that I've watched, this is the only one that has some type of like a romantic feel in a sense, especially with the human characters and stuff like that, how everything came into a full circle in a sense, especially towards the end of the movie. And speaking of love, we got to always acknowledge Nathaniel's love for King Kong Lives. It has nothing to do with the topic of the movie, but we always got to acknowledge it. We have to. Oh man,
lose this shit when we talk about that movie.
So like that is basically what I saw was the clearest message that they were trying to aim towards and stuff like that. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes you need that little, feminine touch to try to see you or have you look at different points of view in a whole different perspective. And of course, you wouldn't take that into consideration if there wasn't any type of emotional connection between you and that other significant other. Obviously there's a lot of things that I know for sure. Yes, Eric Stolp. I'm looking directly at you because I feel like you're looking into my soul. Like, really, Jordan? Yes. There's a lot of things that I know for me. I had my own personal opinions on, and it changed immediately the moment I had my alpaca worshipping fiance and that of Michelle Salgado Adorno. But yeah, love. Or what do the kids do nowadays? Do you do this? What the hell is that? They do that?
Are you serious, Eric?
What is that?
The fuck is that?
That's not a heart.
Do it yourself and look at it. It's a heart.
I hold on.
That's fucking stupid. No. Dumbest shit ever.
Helmy knows what I'm talking about. Ask him. Helmy knows.
All I know is this half-ass or however they freaking do it. I don't even know. Like this is the real.
That was Adrian at the beginning of the show. Leslie, he was throwing up gang signs, not me.
Oscar. Oscar goes, well, that's stupid.
Oscar, oh God, here we go.
But not, dude. Holy shit! Oh man. So
sorry, getting derailed.
Oh my god. So another thing that I want to mention, obviously, and this next question that I have set up for you guys. What are your thoughts on Takayuki Hattori's score for this film? Now, this is a bit interesting because for those who do not know, this is the same individual, the same composer who worked on Godzilla 1999 or Godzilla 2000 Millennium. He also worked on the Godzilla Polygon trilogy, which I didn't know until basically looking up his resume in Godzilla's history. Obviously, we're all used to, and especially within, well, besides a little bit of Biollante, absolutely nothing in 84. But this is the only movie besides Godzilla coming up from sea, landing into the island, where Akira Ifukube had no part in this movie. Other than, again, just that the one scene where you hear the classic Godzilla music where Godzilla first appears in the movie. But other than that, all that was ever played in this entire movie, and is the only movie that has Hattori-san's score portraying the entire movie. So what are your guys' thoughts on the score?
I guess I'll go first and rip the Band-Aid off, since I know Adrian's more of the score person. Again, it was there. One thing that I will have to say about the Heisei era as a whole is that all of their scores, all of their music is very rememberable, because
Yes.
I'm not saying as in like it's super good. I'm saying that when you hear it, you know exactly what movie
it is.
You're hearing. You might know exactly what scene that you're envisioning in your head too. Like it's just there. It kind of ingrains itself in your brain. You know, that's for all of the Heisei, because it all has its own like new music kind of thing. As in the Showa, they recycled a lot of the stuff to make themes and everything for certain kaiju and stuff like that, and whatever. So the Heisei is a little bit different. They did all new stuff and everything, obviously, besides Godzilla's March and everything and whatever. But yeah, it is very memorable, I guess, in that sense. But it's not like the greatest soundtrack that's out there in the movies and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just kind of there, and it is what it is. It's
Adrian,
I will say it is the absolute weakest soundtrack in the Heisei era, easily.
Oh,
but it is unique and doesn't deserve the hate. It's a cool little soundtrack. Is it the best soundtrack? No. Leslie mentioned that Megazilla's theme should have been in a goddamn Lifetime movie. I saw that, Leslie. I feel like that was a bit that might be a little excessive, but I guess that is what you do remember from Miss SpaceGodzilla's theme. And I personally like it. But again, the soundtrack and the whole score in general is the weakest in the Heisei era. Because, I mean, think about it. 84, King Ghidorah, God, Mothra. Even though that movie, we'll talk about that movie another day. But Mechagodzilla and Destroyer, all those scores like Eric said, you know, when you hear it, you know that damn score.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, SpaceGodzilla does fall in that category also, but again, it is the weakest, but I still enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's above most. No, I don't know where to put it as far as scores go, but it's weakest in the Heisei era, but I think it's like middle of the road as far as scores in Godzilla in general.
Okay.
So you said it was. I'm going to refer to you because I know you like scores and everything. So you said it's a unique score. In what way? What is it unique that's different than the others, though?
This is your time to convince Eric otherwise.
Very true.
Because again, even though you know the Heisei scores when you hear them, they are upgraded versions of their show counterparts for the most part. Besides Mechagodzilla 3, Mechagodzilla 2, Jesus Christ, that's score.
That's fire right there, man.
Yeah. But with Space Godzilla, like, it's something we didn't necessarily get before this film came out, honestly. And again, it's definitely not the best, but it's not bad either. It fits for the type of movie it is, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Was that satisfying for you, Eric?
Not really, but
this score, I don't know if you guys get the sense of feeling with this score, with what I'm gonna say. It kind of reminds me, or if anything, like it has that aura that I could only personally see it fit with that of the Rebirth of Mothra series. Yeah. There's a lot of it seems very anime-esque in a sense. And that is why I kind of pair it up, and it's very, I don't know, I don't want to say like it's cheesy or like I don't know how to explain it. But it just, for me, it looks like something that can be paired with that of the Rebirth of Mothra franchise. And it's not to, and mind you, like Godzilla's theme song, not the classic Ifukube score, but the one that was, yes, that heroic theme song. I vibe with it a lot for some reason. I think it's the overall build up of Godzilla finally right there about to get his hands on SpaceGodzilla, and just that music has that satisfaction of the satisfaction feeling towards just like, yes, he's right there. We finally needed him. He's here. Let's fucking go. And then obviously, you know, partaking in the role of that, Godzilla was the hero in the movie and stuff like that being depicted by Toho. But yeah, it's now one that I would always go back to revisit, unless if I'm doing like a specific art piece commemorating that of SpaceGodzilla. I always like to listen to music or watch anything that, yes, it sounds whimsical. That's right. Yes, that is the best description that I couldn't even think with, or besides Nathaniel. Thank you, Nate. Yeah, so like I would not listen to this again unless if I'm actually drawing something like SpaceGodzilla related, because I want to feel in that, you know, like that aura, that vibe of SpaceGodzilla. Shit, I would even watch Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla, or watch gameplay or lore or Wikizilla's take of the kaiju bio of SpaceGodzilla, all just to be able to get into that mood. But yeah, nah, the score is definitely not it for me, other than well Godzilla's theme song, and of course little Godzilla's theme song. Other than that, that is basically all that I have to say about the score. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think that the movie itself, especially knowing that the score that we have is what's cemented in the movie, I don't even think Ifukube's take of doing this movie would have fit personally.
I don't think so either.
and again, it has a lot to do with obviously what we're already given. So yeah, that's just the one thing that I have to keep on thinking to myself is how would Akira Ifukube come about making a Space Godzilla theme, one that will fit him and that will stick with him to the end of eternity. But I don't know. That's just a little personal opinion of mine. Thank you, Nate. I truly do appreciate it, my friend. I try my absolute best, and I just try to have a ball with it, you know. I think this question is definitely going to be a easy one for, I guess, for you two to answer. What would you change about the film?
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Go ahead, Adrian. Take it away, my friend.
We did not need we don't need the fairies in the movie. They was also. I actually love Mothra, but her in that movie was just why? For fucking what? And obviously we placed Mogera for Mechagodzilla. And whoever wrote the script for the story just completely throw it out and start anew.
Oh my god.
Like shit, honestly, take out the first 10-15 minutes in the movie, and then the middle of it, but until Mechagodzilla starts fighting Space Godzilla. But yeah, no, there's a lot. As much as I do enjoy this movie, it's more of a guilty pleasure than anything else. There's a lot I would change about this.
Eric?
So I would want more of a backstory for Space Godzilla. Like I mentioned before, that was very short and brief and just wasn't enough. I think they could have done a lot more with that. Made it more world threatening, I guess you want to say, just because he is such a threatening force that, he was in Fukuoka, and kind of took over that area, but like it would have been cool to see diamonds or not crystals popping out of like the whole world, just random ones here and there, or more of them dropping, to Earth and stuff like that. Would have been more of an interesting take. Honestly, the human characters, we discussed that they're trash. They need to narrow it down to only maybe 3, maybe 4 if we're gracious. There was too many different things going on, then they're trying to tie them all together, and there just wasn't enough to really kind of keep it alive, or you keep it interesting to want to know what's going on or what they're doing and stuff like that. The whole mind control thing of Godzilla, get that out of here. That was retarded and just I'm sorry, but it was lazy. Honestly, it was not funny. And then let's see what else. What is the kind of lady doing? Oh God. Yes, we know you're simping for her. Yes, we know. Also, too, the fight with Godzilla and Space Godzilla on the island, I wish it was a little bit longer, because that was actually a very interesting fight, because it was their first altercation with each other. I would have liked to see Space Godzilla do maybe a little bit more damage to Little Godzilla, honestly, to really hammer home that, like, hey, I'm the bad guy. Hey, I am here to destroy, kind of thing. And really kind of show Godzilla, like, hey, like, you're not the king dog, I'm the king dog now, and run him off, like kind of what he did and everything like that. So yeah, just a few things. Obviously, the biggest thing is the human characters in the story was very forgettable, but the strongest suit of the whole movie is the kaiju action. I mean, you can't go wrong with this kaiju action. It's a lot of fun, and it's a long scene for kaiju action. Like it goes on for
Mhm.
like half the movie, dude. Like it's if you want kaiju action, this is the movie for you because it's a lot of screen time for these kaiju. So
Eric, to piggyback a little bit on Godzilla's first interaction with Space Godzilla on the island, you guys are probably well aware of this as well. The scene where little Godzilla was trapped, I don't know why Toho even thought about not even throwing this up in the big screen, but Godzilla actually went and attempted to try to free little Godzilla. And Toho is just like, again, I guess I don't know if it was to save budget or save the time frame given for the movie that they just decided to take it out. I'm like, my personal opinion, that was a missed opportunity. And I would have liked for them to focus a little bit more, like a little bit more of a screen time for the monsters, duking it out. Like, and it's not to say that I feel like I didn't get enough of Space Godzilla, because Space Godzilla, he was that entire fucking movie. Let's be honest. It wasn't anybody else, and it wasn't even Godzilla. Like, it was Space Godzilla. And if anything, I should have brought this up with our thoughts on being introduced to Space Godzilla. One thing I would have loved to have seen Space Godzilla do in this movie is have the ability, since this was the human aspect side of things was to try to control Godzilla. I wish that Space Godzilla was given the ability of mind control. Not even specifically like try to control Godzilla, or maybe even try to attempt it, but because Godzilla's already a hard creature to try to mind control, that he wasn't capable of doing that. Maybe he could have controlled little Godzilla, causing him to kind of erupt into this whole new monster until, Godzilla stops him, or it's something that could have been done for like a brief time frame. Shit, he could have even tried to control whatever engine that's used to basically get Mogira up and going, or something like that. Maybe even control the minds of the human beings, freaking G-force or some shit, make him even much more of a larger threat to the planet as to how he already, shown the world. But that was a little something that I would personally have loved to have seen. It just would have lived up to the badassery of the monster that he is. So yeah. Oh, let me see. I noticed Oscar has a question. Out of the entire movie, what was y'all's favorite scene? Mine was him landing right next to the tower and seeing him form his fortress. That's a good one, because I
will say probably my favorite scene was literally Space Godzilla using his crystals as like missiles.
Okay.
Yeah, like when he was using that as like artillery, like that was the shit. First they're going up, and so is he. And then he starts raining him down, and then he's shooting him like bullets. Like, that's pretty freaking sweet, dude.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Eric. That scene was beautiful to watch also.
Yeah, I was like, dang, I was like, this guy's got a freaking arsenal too? Like, good Lord.
Mine's, and I think it has also a lot to do with what Godzilla has already brought to the table in the Heisei era, and the characters that we did get to come back and repraise their role for their respective characters. That shot after Godzilla destroyed Space Godzilla and obliterated freaking Mogira, and you get Godzilla roaring, and then the scene cuts, and you see the general of G-Force looking into the screen and goes, Godzilla. Like, it's just, in other words, it's just like, you are my biggest target right when I'm right there, right when my hands are wrapped around the throat. I am still so far back. you know. So, and it's also more also for me. It's a sentimental piece, knowing that unfortunately the actor who played that role is no longer here with us. And it's just again, for me, it's just a sentimental scene, knowing that finally Godzilla defeated this asshole Frieza and can now swim back to Monster Island to play with his little Gohan. Yay!
Yeah.
So yeah, I like seeing Godzilla. Yes, that is one of my second favorite scenes. And then the music being played in the background and stuff like that. You get that nice little slow motion of Godzilla swimming out to the ocean. Oh my god, yes. And there's a lot of like iconic scenes in this movie. There's like it's really hard to pick, but sticking to my guns and being true to my love for Godzilla, that's that one scene. You get this monsters of a behemoth that's trying to be stopped by this global defense force in G-Force that are just right there. Like I said, though there are 10 steps closer, there are 10 steps further back. And it's just, yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. Speaking of the scenes, obviously we've been talking about this movie and of course trying to compare it to other Heisei movies and stuff like that. Where does this film rank in the Heisei era? I was going to say in Godzilla's entirety, but I feel like that would have been, oh my goodness.
It would have been low.
Yeah. Somebody would have had a brain tumor trying to figure this shit out. So I just stick with the Heisei era.
Got my answer. I can go real quick.
Go ahead.
Honestly, this is second to last.
Wow.
The Heisei era.
Damn.
Only thing worse than, I do enjoy this movie, but the only thing that's worse than SpaceGodzilla is Godzilla vs.
Wow.
People like to talk shit about Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, which is blasphemy to me. So Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla is the second worst in the Heisei era.
It's my fourth favorite.
Oh, can you give us your top four favorites?
Yep, it's just below Biollante, 93, and then Return, and then it's Space.
Oh, so wait, in the bottom two are Destroyer and Mothra?
It's Eric. You shouldn't be.
Wow. Okay, wait. So this is going to be a whole nother topic. So what are rank them from least favorite or not from, like least favorite to your ultimate least favorite.
Least favorite to ultimate least favorite?
Yes, like, all right, like it's tolerable, but it's And then this is just something you just rather sit in the shelf and collect dust.
The one that sits on the shelf and collects dust the most is Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Yeah.
But you gotta understand Eric's reason why, which we're gonna touch on that next year.
Yes. I think I know, but I don't want to make any assumptions, so I'll just zip it. We'll talk about it offline. Wow, okay. Wow, you think you know a guy. So it's okay, that's why we love you, buddy. Damn. For me, holy shit. I wrote down the question, and that was a tough question for me to even answer. See, for me, Mechagodzilla 2 is going to be ranked number 1 for me. I guess, yeah, no, not. I'm thinking about it. It's my top 3. It goes Mechagodzilla 2, Biollante, and then SpaceGodzilla. Destroyer would be number 4. '84 would be right under that, and then Godzilla versus Mothra, and
shut up.
then
Dude,
Ghidorah.
shut up. You think
No,
get out of here.
I can't do it. I'm sorry. I try and I try and I try and I can't do it.
What? I'm not about to go on a Godzilla's King Ghidorah rant. I refuse.
It fucking sucks.
You're fucking wrong.
Oh, never mind. I must have missed the one. Never mind. I don't give a shit if you don't like King Ghidorah.
Yeah, no. For me, number one.
I thought you were missing one. So I was like, wait, hold up.
No. I said I mentioned '84 Biollante, Ghidorah.
That's the one I missed. It was Biollante. I was like, shut up.
Yeah. Biollante is number 2 for me.
Okay.
Yeah. It goes Mechagodzilla, Biollante, SpaceGodzilla.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
You're good then.
So that is where I rank this movie in the Heisei era. So now I believe I have 2 final questions. 2 that are going to be very fun, and I know the last one's going to be the last one's going to be holy shit. Maybe now that I got basically some of your guys' rankings, I might know the answer specifically directed to one person, but nonetheless, I think it's still going to be an interesting topic, especially to hear the chat bring it up as well. So the first out of the 2 fun questions, what is your favorite Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla collectible? Or if anything, what is your holy grail if you don't even have it from this movie?
So coincidentally, actually, I had this question too that I was going to ask if it didn't come up.
Oh, okay.
So I like where your head's at.
Thank you.
I kind of touched on this before, where I just don't have enough SpaceGodzilla stuff. Honestly, I look around and I don't have a ton. So if I had to pick one, honestly, my favorite right now is the Mondo trendy SpaceGodzilla. This thing is damn near perfection. It is. Oh man, what they've done so far, like this is the top, if not one of the top sculpts releases that they've done so far. So this thing is just absolutely amazing. So this is my current top one now. And then you asked which one would you like in your collection?
Yes, yep.
God. There's a couple, but I've never seen them like in person, so it's hard to say. I will go with the Tease Facto SpaceGodzilla Millennium model kit.
Oh, okay.
But that one is like a 40 centimeter kit, and that thing looks badass. Like it looks awesome. But I'm also going to add something to this question because it's part of my question too.
Okay.
What kind of collectible would you like to be made from this film that hasn't been made? And I will blatantly say it. Everybody's been talking about it. We've been talking about it for years. Let's get a good Godzilla Jr. that is suit accurate, film accurate, whatever you want to call it. Give us that 30 centimeter Godzilla Jr. Make it happen. So there you go. Adrian, what do you got?
So as you said, Eric, as much as I love the trendy Mondo SpaceGodzilla, this thing is damn near perfection. I love it. I just love something a little bit more. I know people hate this bastard, but the 30 centimeter SpaceGodzilla. And I know it's not absolutely perfect.
I know.
He's a big thick boy.
Yep. Big Chungus.
Big Chungus.
Big old chunker. I love it.
Yeah.
But as far as what I would want, what it's called though, the big diorama with the 94 Godzilla that
Motherfucker.
Prime Studio, I think.
No.
It's XM Studio.
XM Studio, yeah, XM Studio. That Space Godzilla.
Gotcha.
Good Lord.
And then what do you want made that hasn't been made from it? From the
Little Godzilla, obviously.
Little Godzilla?
Yes, Express 30 centimeter Little Godzilla.
30 centimeter. Okay, gotcha.
So, my favorite, you guys know the story. My grandma threw the bitch out, and I became a man, and I bought it again.
Oh.
Dude, so did you not hear the story?
I don't think so.
All right, long story short, this was one of my first Godzilla collectibles ever. Okay. I didn't even own a Godzilla, but I owned this specific Space Godzilla figure.
Nice. Good choice.
So it was this, not this exact figure, but it was the Trendmasters sound effect Space Godzilla, alongside later on the hand puppet 98 that my uncle gifted me for, I think, my birthday or Christmas at the time. I don't recall. But my grandmother, for my original Trendmasters figure, threw it out because she thought of it to be too demonic.
Oh, wow.
So as I was getting older as a kid, there were a lot of toys that my grandparents, more so specifically my grandmother and my parents, would just put in bins and leave it in the attic or whatever it is that they had a storage room in. And so because they put two to two together, like, okay, well, this is a toy that John had as a baby. It's a baby toy, so we put it away. So I would always ask for that toy. And because I didn't know exactly the name of the toy, I would just call it Godzilla. And they had no knowledge of it whatsoever. And then when they asked my grandmother, she goes and says, oh, so I'm giving her the description. It's exactly the way how obviously the Trendmasters figure is like. And she's like, oh, yeah, I threw it away. And so my parents were like, why? She's like, oh, that looks like the devil. And I, as a little kid, am fucking heartbroken after receiving the news that she threw out one of my favorite toys of all time. Ironic enough, this is the same lady now in which I'm about to be in my 30s, would sit back and watch every single Godzilla movie with me, including that of who she thought to be demonic and that of Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. So I became an adult. I had adult money and went on eBay and I got this bad boy right back in the comfort of my home. It is one of my all-time favorites. I could own, and that is the one that I do want, the XM Studios Space Godzilla. I could own that in my collection right now. And this would be still my favorite collectible. The nostalgia factor, the unfortunate story that I have with my own piece of the figure back in the day. As for, to answer your question, Eric, what I would want, it's not so much what was in the movie, but it's so much more of what Space Godzilla was inspired by. So do I own it? I can't recall. So obviously this design for any diehard Godzilla fan is literally eye to eye. There's with obvious differences in comparison to that of the Super Godzilla design. Now, obviously, we were announced that Bandai Movie Monster Series was going to be dropping a Super Godzilla figure when all it really is just another Space Godzilla figure just with Super Godzilla parts and stuff like that. Like the dorsal plates are not even the same. They're just Space Godzilla dorsal plates. So I would like for X Plus to do something like that, but to replace that void of not owning Space Godzilla in my collection. A few years back, when Playmates dropped their Burning Godzilla figure, and I was in the whole wave of customizing figures, I ended up doing my own Super Godzilla from that figure. And this is, I even have the tail piece right there. And then this is one of my all-time favorite custom collectibles. The back part was such a bitch to do, especially to not try to, get the arms to not be able to rotate. Even the crest on his head, I wanted that little arc, the way how it was presented in the video game or any other concept art we have. It even got the little knee pads in there and stuff like that. But that is what I'm hoping for, is for X Plus to jump on the the Super Godzilla bandwagon. Shit, we already got Bagan. We got a Bandai Movie Monsters. We have 2 variants, the video game color version, and then what was originally given to us in that CD game you were mentioning to us earlier in the show, Eric. We got the Gojiban Bagan coming. I just want to see them really tackle on Super Godzilla. Again, obviously it's not Space Godzilla, but it is literally the inspiration that made Space Godzilla.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Nathaniel. I appreciate the comment, my friend. Now for the last and final question, which, knowing the technical difficulties that we're going through right now, I kind of wish that I made this question a little bit more obvious to what I'm asking. Space Godzilla versus Destroya. Who do you guys got? Space Godzilla beating that ass?
Space Godzilla's beating that ass.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
So this is going to be an easy sweep. Okay, I think. So I want to one up it. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to take your question. Who should have been his last opponent in the heisei? Destroyer or Space Godzilla?
Again, fucking Space Godzilla.
Yeah. Space Godzilla. It sucks because the concept and the idea of Destroya, in my opinion, is absolutely amazing.
I agree.
But there's just something about it that just, if you throw Space Godzilla at me right there in front of my face, I'm gonna kick Destroya to the curb. And it's a shame because obviously we all know Godzilla versus Destroya is by far one of the most emotionally impacted movies in the entire franchise. Destroya the character is another whole new freaking threat added into the franchise. If anything, that's more demonic than what my grandma thought of Space Godzilla to fucking be. Let's just be honest. But from what Space Godzilla showcased to the audience of his true capabilities of what he can do to Godzilla and anything of his surroundings, what he did to Mogira, what he did to little Godzilla. I mean, shit. Destroya killed baby Godzilla. Destroya killed a little Godzilla. He killed Junior. But it's, I don't know, man. It's, but I am going to go for Space Godzilla. There's so much. I feel like the fandom has so much more love for Space Godzilla than Destroya. Because I'm just thinking, like, in terms of collectibles, other source of media that we have out there to really showcase the true and almighty power to these creatures, whether it be from video games, comic books, other source of medias. I feel like we have more for that of SpaceGodzilla than Destroya. But yeah, SpaceGodzilla's gonna. I know we've been calling him Frieza, but if you pinned him with Destroya, I feel like Destroya would have been Frieza, and this be fucking Broly.
Maybe. So actually, I think Destroya is more of a fan favorite than SpaceGodzilla. And that's why I think that a lot of people don't like the movie SpaceGodzilla as a kaiju, honestly. If you think about it, who was first in Godzilla Melee? Destroya or SpaceGodzilla?
Destroya.
Who was first in Gigabash, the Godzilla DLC?
Destroya.
Who was first in the Playmates for the Americans?
Destroya.
Who came out as a Bandai, Japanese style? Which one came before that? Well, that might be SpaceGodzilla because of the year, but that was kind of pretty close. Yeah. But like the point is that it seems like because Destroya was the very last foe of the Heisei series, and that movie is so revered as, you know, to being like a pinnacle movie for the Godzilla franchise, that I think people resonate that to Destroya, so he gets a lot of love and everything like that. And maybe that's why, like I said, that's why people don't like SpaceGodzilla, because he's not pushed out there in their faces as much as Destroya is, honestly. Because let's face it, you know, we're talking about, you know, who would win, Destroya or SpaceGodzilla, blah blah blah. Like, but let's honestly dissect this. Destroya went up against the strongest form of Godzilla ever incarnated.
Yep.
And he still held his own. He literally was beating him for the most part. So you have to think of that too. I still think that SpaceGodzilla probably still would have had a little bit of an edge if they were to like face off with each other and stuff like that, just because of his battery, I guess you can say, where he can kind of recharge himself and he kind of keep giving himself energy. He has that over Destroya, where Destroya doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of just depends on what you prefer, how you look at things and everything like that. But yeah, I just think that unfortunately, SpaceGodzilla is kind of left in the dirt and everything like that, because not a lot of people like this film, honestly, and it's like we stated, like it's kind of a controversial film, I would love to get your guys's ideas about that after we finish this kind of question and finishing up about that controversy and everything, to kind of dissect that a little bit, because it is one of the, I mean, obviously we've stated it here with the chat, with us personally, and how we feel about this movie. It's good and bad for fans and stuff like that, and kind of want to know why. Why is it bad? Why is it good? You know, why should somebody watch this? Why shouldn't somebody watch this? You know, obviously we've given our opinions about what we think and why it is, but why do we think as a whole this is kind of one of the films that is kind of looked down on overall, even though there's a lot of good stuff going for it, honestly?
I know a big thing that we've even touched on even during the show today is the story is lacking. Story is lacking. Again, I do like the soundtrack. The soundtrack is, you can say the soundtrack's lacking also, which both of those components really do make a difference in the film, because like Leslie said, the soundtrack isn't memorable at all if you don't really enjoy this film. And the human story is non-existent to me. We're legit just there for the kaiju action. So, and I think that's what everybody looks at too. Like, oh, this is a shitty film because of the human aspect of it, and nothing being memorable of the film itself. Now, if you do love kaiju action, then that's perfectly fine. Jaden, everybody can see you. if you do love the kaiju action, that does help the film a lot. But overall, as all other films are in the Godzilla era, it doesn't live up to a lot of films before it or after it.
So, all right, I'm trying to think. So, all right, I guess I'll think of like for us now, for what the movie has brought to us now. What I was going to do was think about a little bit more so towards when the movie originally came out in that time frame. But to make it a lot easier and a lot shorter, I'll just stick to what's going on now.
Yeah.
Obviously, when people, even for non-Godzilla fans, when they hear the name Godzilla, instantly that nostalgic like memory pops up. You, like I said, and this also goes to people who are non-Godzilla fans. Like, oh my goodness, every time I would go to work, my bosses would be like, dude, you bring in so much joy to my life knowing that I could just look down your arm and I see something I grew up with. You know, I might not be a big fan like you, but holy shit, you just brought me down to a trip down memory lane. And I think that's one of the key components about Godzilla's success within certain movies. Like, if I were to mention that of SpaceGodzilla, they're going to be like, what? Absolutely not. Never heard of it. Never even thought that there was a thing. I know Mechagodzilla. I know, Ghidorah or Ghidra. I know Martha or Mothra, whatever, With every movie that came out prior to SpaceGodzilla, and especially knowing with the knowledge that we know now as to why Toho stopped, with their original concepts of what they wanted to bring into the Godzilla Heisei era after Biollante, it was because nobody was fond of the new design, the new monster in Biollante, this whole new idea of trying to bring out a new generation of Godzilla movies at that time. Hence the reason why they brought back King Ghidorah. Hence the reason why they brought back Mothra. Hence the reason why they brought back Mechagodzilla, Rodan, a baby Godzilla, and then of course Akira Ifukube that really helped levitate the Godzilla franchise. The theme is just as iconic as that of Jurassic Park. It is just as iconic as that of Star Wars, so and there's really nothing in SpaceGodzilla, the movie itself, that reads that nostalgia factor, and again, I know I said I was going to go back to when the movie first came out, but it's just like, again, you have Godzilla coming out to fight this new creature that never existed in the past. With a whole new story, a whole different style of it, with the music and all that, which I always said, music helps bring up a movie. It helps progress it, digress it, whatever the case is. For me, music is a key component into a good movie. And the music just wasn't that for the movie. And you guys heard me praise, specific scores, but there are only 2 scores that I liked in the entire movie. And that alone wasn't enough for me to really sit here and again listen to that score like I'm a early 2000s teenager freaking sitting up against my bed with the freaking DVD player and my headphones hooked up, throwing a basketball up in midair, like chilling, like it's fucking summer of 2002. I'm not doing that shit. Yeah, but like even if it's for the SpaceGodzilla character, I don't see why the movie's frowned upon or so much the SpaceGodzilla character. But I think it's just the movie overall in general is, again, and the overall the aura that was missed in that in comparison to the other movies, especially in the Heisei era, is, I guess, one that I could assume is why it's frowned upon by many, many others.
And honestly, I think the only benefit that makes Destroya more appealing than SpaceGodzilla is because he was in the last Heisei film, and because it was Godzilla's death. So you think of that and you correlate it with each other, and that's why Destroya is such a I think a fan favorite, I guess you could call it. But if it was what if 95 Godzilla never died? What if that wasn't his final film? Would Destroya actually be looked on as a fan favorite? I don't think so. I think he would fall into the category just like SpaceGodzilla, where he's just kind of a new villain that Godzilla got to fight in the Heisei era and stuff like that. So it is sad because honestly, I feel that the idea of where SpaceGodzilla came from, which is Super Godzilla, like you were mentioning, Jordan, is that I think people like that idea more than actually SpaceGodzilla, which is crazy because it's literally the same thing, just a different design, you know? So it's weird how people portray things and think of things and stuff like that. But I just think that because of the terrible story, the plot just didn't help at anything. I know a lot of people nowadays look for a good story to go with a movie, and we've said it on these shows before about having a good story, human characters, you know, pulls the movie a long ways, and I get that, I really do. But like I've stated, I wasn't looking for that as a kid. I wanted the kaiju action, and I still want that. I still want that kaiju action, and so that's why I will fast forward or just completely just zone out for the human aspect and then zone back in for the kaiju action. Because let's face it, this movie is very similar to GXK. In like the story is very lackluster, but there's a lot of kaiju action in it and stuff like that, and you're there for the kaiju action. It's off the wall, you know, and everything. It's got a little bit of craziness and everything with a villain being from space as Godzilla's doppelganger that's made from floating stars and shit like that and whatever. He comes down and tries to take over the world, whatever. You know, it's the same thing. It's just one's older, one's a little bit newer and fresher and everything like that. Now people kind of are kind of on that bandwagon. So I think if they were to bring out and reintroduce SpaceGodzilla to the franchise and everything like that, I think he would be catapulted into that spotlight and people would actually really love him, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe start flipping people on this movie and seeing, okay, this is actually not as bad as a film as it really people say it is. So
listen, I couldn't agree more. I didn't even think about the other topics you were bringing up about specifically with Destroya, what came out first in terms of, you know, certain, you know, properties and stuff like that, and you were right on the ball with that. And it is just like now really sitting back and analyzing everything that you just said, Eric. I couldn't agree more, and I preferably am much more of a SpaceGodzilla fan, the character, than I am that of Destroya.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, it's, oh my goodness, the possibilities are just, and to this day I think there are still very, very endless for our beloved monster here. But
and honestly, I just think it's cool and fun that when you take, like, say, a hero, okay, that's well known, people love, fan favorite, everything, then all of a sudden you have the exact opposite of that. That is the evil, the not friendly, the whatever. Subaraya has been doing it for decades. Okay, we've gotten it with Mechagodzilla. Everybody loves Mechagodzilla. He's a doppelganger, the mechanical doppelganger of Godzilla. Okay, you could take any superhero. There is a doppelganger evil one of that one. But just for some reason, just this guy just didn't get the love that I think he should get, because he is a cool kaiju. The design looks awesome. He's great, but it's just the film alone just didn't do it. And I just think that's why he kind of falls between the cracks and everything, and people forget about him. And then people don't like doing collectibles of him because he's not, in that upper echelon of fan favorites and stuff like that. So they're like, oh, it probably won't sell, so maybe we shouldn't do this and everything. But I'd say in recent year and a half, maybe even
it's
2 years,
gotten better.
Yeah, he's getting better. There, you see more and more things of collectible wise with him kind of coming out and everything, and it's good to see, honestly. So
now listen, I mean, granted, we got a few days left to the end of 2024. Next thing you know, next week we're gonna get a plethora of SpaceGodzilla shit. So is this? Oh my god! Listen, oh god,
for you.
Dude, you already know what I'm gonna say. #justice for King Caesar. Dude, you mean to tell me I have to wait another 10 years for any type of hope for at least a smidge bit more? King Caesar should be displayed. Absolutely not. I'll lose my fucking shit. It will be at that moment, 10 years from now, that I will boycott Toho. That's all I gotta say.
Daniel, we love having you, but no, we're not comparing SpaceGodzilla to King Kong. We're not doing that. We're absolutely not fucking doing that.
You're gonna have to wait till we do the show.
Yup.
But I get what he's saying.
Yeah, I get what he's saying.
Do you?
Like,
I can't.
I'm not saying anything as in like something's better than the other or this and that, but I get his reference as to why one is seen as in the way it is, and so is the other one, kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's just kind of your personal preference. Is too many people just kind of talk bad about it, and then it kind of becomes a thing where people start thinking that way, and it's like they really haven't even watched it, or they haven't dissected it, or they haven't actually given the time to think about it, and maybe they're right, but like, always watch something without taking someone else's opinion. Get your own opinion before,
absolutely.
you form, and your own opinion and everything like that, and everything like that. I've always lived by that. I don't care about critics. I can care less about them. I don't know how they got jobs, because I sure as hell didn't put them in that position. I don't know how they became experts, because they are not me. They are not what I like. They don't know what I like, so I don't care about their opinions and anybody else's. So if you like King Kong Lives, hell, man, good for you. Keep rocking on. I love it. If you don't like SpaceGodzilla, cool, great, awesome. If you do, cool, great, awesome. We love it all. So,
before we close this show off, Nathaniel, I have a story for you, and you guys are going to hear this for the first time as well.
Oh snap!
So I'm gonna grab the mic for this shit, like as if I'm cutting a promo in WWE. So I was, oh my goodness, I don't even know how old I was here, but I think I just turned 10 or 11. I don't recall. My mom, she used to work as a foot podiatrist, and one of her patients that came in, they were having small talk, obviously, of course, my mom trying to take care of her patients and stuff like that. And so she was, I don't know how the conversation again was brought up to her attention, but this was around 2005. And I know it was around 2005 because this is when Peter Jackson's King Kong was coming out. So I guess I'm assuming the patient was mentioning that movie, and my mom acknowledged it and was talking about my love for Godzilla and how my grandparents are actually planning on taking me to go see the 2005 King Kong movie during Christmas break and stuff like that. And so the patient actually came back and allowed my mom to borrow two from his personal collection, 2 VHS cassettes of King Kong Lives and King Kong versus Godzilla. So, of course, between the two, I had to go in and pop in King Kong versus Godzilla because it was a Godzilla movie. I had to fucking watch it. Not only that, but the only time before that I saw King Kong versus Godzilla, dude, I was a fucking baby. Like I can't even tell you what age I was from watching that movie. All I know is that I was a baby. And that was the movie that cemented my hatred towards Kong. But anyways, so I popped in the movie, and you guys know how VHS tape used to work. You had to freaking throw it in there, stop, rewind it all the way to the beginning of the movie, and then press play so you get the full feature length experience. I was so excited. Oh my God. I was so excited to watch the movie. I just wanted to see what he had right there before I press stop and rewind. So I let the movie play, and it's the scene where Kong is in top of, I forgot what tower it was, but he had Fumiko in his hand. And the comedian from the pharmaceutical company was like, King Kong can't make a monkey out of us. And then the scene cuts. You got that far shot of Kong roaring. You get all the spotlights on him. And then you got that close-up scene. The second I saw Kong's close-up scene, I turned off the fucking TV. I was fucking petrified at the look of this motherfucker. I went to sleep with my mother and my father that night.
So you just have PTSD from just being scared of gorillas.
No, it was from that ugly turd of a motherfucker. Funny enough, that is now that I'm a man. That is one of my all-time favorite Kongs alongside King Kong.
That's true, man. I love that.
It's so stupid and ugly. You just had to fucking love it. And it's a Toho property, so that's another reason why I liked it. So then I watched King Kong Lives instead. I was bummed out I didn't get to see Godzilla in action from that night that my mom came back from her shift, but I had a fucking blast watching and being introduced to King Kong Lives. So just wanted to give that little fun fact of a story to you guys if you guys did not know.
Did not. It's a good promo.
Yeah, thank you. So WWE, if you're watching this, hire me.
Subscribe.
Or that too, yeah. Do that first. Oh man. But you guys, this show was an absolute blast. I mean, we always have a blast doing shows like this. For everybody that's tuning in, of course, as always, thank you to all of our diehard fans, to all of our new fans that came across that I don't recall bumping into, pulling up in the streams and stuff like that. This is definitely a movie that is a mixed emotion between many, if not many, a plethora of Godzilla fans, even pop culture fans. If you guys have not seen Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla, stop what you're doing and fucking watch it. All right. There's only one way if you would truly know if you liked it or if you didn't like it, and that is to sit through and watch it. Like Aaron mentioned, do not take anybody else's word. Just sit back and watch it because you are your own critic. You will know whether if you're going to enjoy it or not. All right.
Absolutely.
Freaking, I'm trying to think. We have our Let's Talk tomorrow. We're going to be discussing a bunch of stuff. Not to give too much details, but
I don't think it's really discussing, more of an argument.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an argument.
You know, to some, he's a symbol of hope. For us, more so specifically, me and Eric, it looks like a load of bullshit to us. So we'll express and embrace the attitude with that. There's a bunch of other things I see that we tune into for our Let's Talk shows. So make sure to stay tuned for tomorrow's show. And shit, you guys are also more than welcome by you guys. I'm talking about the chat to go out and just ask a question, stir up a conversation, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
As always, make sure to follow all of our socials that you see right here in the bottom of this video as it's scrolling all the way across the video. Follow us on TikTok. Go ahead and follow us on Spotify, Instagram. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on our Facebook group and any other social media account that we have. Go ahead and show love to it. Remember, once our YouTube channel hits 1,000 subscribers, we'll be doing another giveaway, you guys. So get those subscriber numbers up so that we can continue to show love to you guys that come in here alongside with me, alongside with Eric, alongside with Adrian. So always and forever embrace
the attitude, everybody.
Attitude. Good night, everybody, and see you guys
later.
tomorrow.
Later.
Woo!